Hello, everyone. This is Getrude Matshe here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. Today, I am working on an art therapy piece. First time I have really painted using acrylic paint. For those of you who know me, I am originally from Zimbabwe, living here in Melbourne, Australia. And the last 5 to 7 years have been extremely traumatic for me. I went through a series of loss, from the loss of my first marriage, going through a very traumatic divorce. Shortly after that, my beloved father died while I was in Zimbabwe visiting my parents of a sudden heart attack. I then lost my mother during COVID and wasn't even able to go home for her funeral. 2 weeks after my mother died, my only daughter had a miscarriage with her first baby. And I had collapsed with congestive heart failure from the stress and hypertension. I never looked for help. I never went to see a psychologist. I never went to see a psychiatrist. I coped with the grief the best way that I could. And it has had a compounding effect on me until very recently. I ended up breaking out with shingles from stress, and I sought some help. So I have two amazing therapists who are working with me. Gabrielle, thank you so much for taking me on as one of your clients and helping me with this art therapy workshop. I'm hoping that by the time I finish completing this piece of art, I will feel better. I will be on that journey to healing. So this is for anybody out there who might be experiencing grief. You don't know how to cope. My message is look for help, look for a psychologist, look for somebody who can help you through. So as I work on this piece today, I will be stopping the video and restarting as I go. And I will hopefully edit the full piece when it's finished and make it a little bit shorter. But you're going to be with me today. Feel free to comment, feel free to chime in as I work on the piece. I also thought I'll use this opportunity to journal, to write a few poetry, words that come to me as I'm working with this piece of art. And so bear with me. It will be an interesting day. It's a beautiful day here in Melbourne. I decided to paint outside. I'm just going to make myself a bit of coffee, something to eat, and then I will be back with it. So I'm going to start with a bit of journaling, a bit of reflection. I'm going to focus on things I am grateful for. Getting a pen. So I got myself a bit of material, a beautiful little book, a journal, which I will write a bit of poetry It has beautiful organic paper, very textured. I'll try and capture some of my thoughts in poetry, and maybe the poetry might end up being a part of this piece of art as well. I'm not sure. We will see how it goes. So I did an art therapy class once with a very interesting woman, and I had never been able to write poetry easily. And this little poetry book gives you certain prompts, a few words that can get you to actually start a poem. And so I'll be drawing on that as a resource. But the first thing I'm going to do is just journal and write down a few thoughts, things that I am grateful for today. I guess I am grateful for the pen that is in my hands. That is expressing the words that I'm trying to express today. I'm grateful for my ability to write. And get what's in my heart out on paper. I'm grateful for the sunshine, the wind that's blowing through the trees, the beautiful red flowers behind me, the green grass on the lawn. I'm grateful to be alive. And I'm grateful for my 3 beautiful kids. My oldest son, Simba, my daughter, Zianda, my youngest son, Dumisani. And most of all, I am grateful for my gorgeous little grandson, who is now 2.5, going on 3. I love you, Matshe. You are my reason for being alive right now. So my journal asks the question, how will I make today awesome? I'll make today awesome by expressing my sadness through art. I will make the day awesome by making today the first day of my healing. Shh, shh, shh. Hey, quiet. And I will make today awesome by staying present, the energy of gratitude. The other little prompt that is in my journal is write down some positive affirmations. And I was reading a book the other day that if you start anything with the words I am, then you become what it is you are trying to express. Hey, off you go. So, I am an amazing abstract artist. I am creative. I am positive. I am optimistic. I am happy to be alive. And the quote that is shared in the journal today is, "What you are, what you do. not what you say you will do. And that's by Carl Jung. So very, very appropriate for what I'm trying to achieve today. You are what you do, not what you say you will do. So I am an artist. Rosalind, wonderful to see you there. Thank you for tuning in and being with me today. So my piece is going to be a multimedia piece. I decided to use an old canvas of another painting that I have, which is just underneath this canvas. I'll be eating breakfast too while I'm doing this. I haven't had breakfast today, and I think it's almost lunch. And as a multimedia piece, it will be created out of canvas, an old canvas that I'm going to paint over. It will be created using some textiles, some fabric. So I did a fabric sculpture course. There'll be some fabric to go on this piece as well. It will also have some ordinary flour and water. So I normally paint textiles. I am a batik artist, and I have an ancient African technique where you use cornmeal and water as a resist for fabric painting. But today I am going to try and see if ordinary flour and water would work as a resist on canvas. So everything I'm doing is very experimental. So this is whole wheat flour, 1 cup of flour to 1 cup of water, which I will apply to the canvas. I will let it dry before I start doing the final painting. So I'll just mix that and put it aside. And I thought out of this piece, I want to express, like I said, a sea of grief. And I've cut out of the canvas a hole on this side. I think I will do a similar thing on the other side. And it's going to be very rough, very jagged, to illustrate the emptiness and the pain that I feel for the loss of my parents. So each of these holes represents my mother, and the other hole will represent my father. They left a very big void in my life when they died. A void I know I will never be able to fill. And this is just the only way that I can express that. So like I said, I've never done anything like this before. So it will be interesting to see what actually comes out of this piece when I'm finished. And if you would like to join me and try and do something similar for yourself, please let me know so that I can follow you and support you on your journey as well. Now, the fabric I'm going to use is going to be part of the canvas, and it's going to create a crater on the textile, on the canvas, that represent the spaces that have been left in my heart. I will just get a scissors and perhaps even just dip this in water so that it actually holds and retains the fabric hardener that I'm going to use to fill in these gaps. So I'll be with you in a second. Okay, I'm back. So the fabric hardening product that I'm going to be using is called StarTex. You can find it online. You just Google the word StarTex. I think it comes in from Perth. And it's very, very effective. You can create fabric sculptures out of it. I did a workshop when I was still in New Zealand on how to use it. And this is the product, StarTex. So just make sure you shake it really well before you apply it to your fabric. You can use a glass bowl or a plastic bowl. It doesn't actually stay or hold on glass or plastic. And just make sure that when you are using it, you're not wearing clothing that you hold dear. If it does go onto your clothing, it doesn't come off. So I'm not wearing anything particularly new. It actually doesn't really matter to me whether this little top gets spoiled or not. So Roslyn, you're here in Melbourne. You need to come and visit me. When did you come? Good to see you online. I know you're normally based in Brisbane. Let me know if we can catch up for a cup of coffee. Good to see you there. So this is going to be a live stream for a whole day, probably. If you have things that you're doing and you want to come and check in a little bit later, just to see how far I've gone with this piece of art, feel free to do that as well. But this is a one-day workshop where I am really just experimenting, using different mediums to work on a piece of art that expresses grief. So this is just a piece of calico that I made a bit wet. And then I'm just going to cover my fabric with Startex. And the reason why you make the fabric wet is so that it absorbs the Startex product. Otherwise, it won't hold. This is an amazing product that I discovered a few years ago. You can make fabric sculptures with it. It's just absolutely incredible. Initially, I had thought that I would paint over this canvas in black first, but I think I will leave it as it is and only paint over later. So I'm tucking this fabric into the edges, and it will all hopefully get nice and dry. Again, I have never done this before. Everything I'm doing today is experimental. So it will be interesting to see what kind of a piece of art I will be able to produce with this technique. So it will take a few hours to dry. And I might stop the video and come back, or I might just work on some poetry while I talk to you. It is a nice hot day, so I have a feeling everything will get dry very quickly. Always make sure that you do have gloves on your hands. It is easy to wash it off, but I just find that it's better not to touch the product directly, just for your own safety. And the beautiful thing is, like, I have a bit of extra fabric on this side. I can literally just cut a piece off and use it on the other side where I'm needing a bit more textiles. So that can go on this side. And the more rugged and jagged it is, the more interesting the piece is going to be. So don't be afraid to just experiment and see where it takes you. So I'm going to let this dry. I might just apply a bit more of the Startex on the edges of the canvas so that this seals in really nicely. And the drying time is just going to depend on the weather. So we might get to paint this today. I might get to paint it tomorrow. I have no idea what Melbourne weather is like today, so I will play it by ear. This is an amazing product. You can make fabric sculptures that can last 5 years outside in the rain. It just hardens the material and petrifies it. So I've used it quite a bit to make sculptures for gardens. I've been making some herb gardens with this product. It's just an incredible thing that I found very recently. So like I said, you can get it online. Star Text is the name of the product. Looks like it's a little bit thick, so I'll just shake it. And as it dries, I'll just assess and see if I need to put more of it on the canvas, so I get the right effect. It's like a glue. It does wash off your hands. If it gets on any textile, it will be ruined. So if you're working with this product, make sure you're not wearing anything that you don't mind losing. So put on some working clothes instead. So, A Sea of Grief is the title of this piece. And I'll be using different painting techniques to express a sea of grief. Looks like I'm attracting a lot of bees here because of my sandwich, so I might just eat my breakfast quickly before the bees get to it. Bon appetit. Pat, hey Pat. Pat says that she created life wounds using latex. This kind of focus profound, and use this during stiff costumes for street theater. We were all in concrete statues. Wow, that's fascinating. Good to see you there, Pat. Some of my friends are chiming in around the world. If you don't know me, tell me your location. Tell me your passion for painting. So while I have my breakfast, I might as well look at writing one or two poems, see what will come through. And if you do like poetry, this little book is absolutely incredible. It was written by an amazing woman who I met in Dubai. Her name is Bahare. Oops. Oh, I am checking so many bees. Bahare Amidi. So the first poem I will write will be written using the prompts that she has in the book. And how she teaches is she just puts a few words on a page that you can follow, and then you add your own voice. I'll just read out the instructions on how to write the poetry. It says, this is where we begin the journey, knowing that each and every one of us has wings and that each and every one of us can fly. Today, this flight takes the form of writing about feelings and images. All you need is a blank piece of paper, a pen, and an open heart. If I were to tell you in a capsule what poetry therapy is, I would take a blank piece of paper and say, ... Each and every blank piece of paper you see anywhere in the world is an invitation to your heart and soul. So, get a piece of paper, place it in front of you, and put both your hands on your heart. And then, as if in a pouring motion, allow what is in your heart to pour out onto the paper. The important thing to remember is that there are no rights or wrongs. Nothing has to rhyme or make sense. It just has to flow from the heart. There is only one rule. Do not block yourself. Just let yourself go with the flow. Trust yourself and your inner voice. You may say to yourself now, but I do not write poetry, or I'm not a good writer. No problem at all. Go back to the poem on the previous page, read it one more time, and then repeat any sentences, phrases, or words that touched you. Then please say them out loud. The purpose of saying them aloud is that the words take on a new life when we give them a voice. So I'll read the poem that she has got written here. It's called The Angel Who Lost His Wings. Once upon a time, there was an angel who lost his wings. He was walking through life wondering what fault had made his wings disappear. He saw the birds flying in the sky and the bees buzzing around. He saw a rock by the river, and he sat and sat and sat. After years of sitting, he decided to walk again and look for his wings. That is when he started to fly, wingless with heart. So I'm going to use this as a prompt to write my first poem right now. And my poem is The Girl Who Lost Her Parents. Once upon a time, there was a little girl who lost both of her parents. They died in less than a year apart. And she felt a hole so deep in her heart, she couldn't fill the void. The world made no sense. The world was bleak, and she was sad. She was sad. She was sad. She saw the birds flying in the sky, the bees buzzing around her. She sat on a rock by the sea, and she sat and sat and sat, and all she could feel was a sea of grief. The sadness came in waves, crashing on the shores of her heart. The sadness came with the wind. It came with the sunrise. It came with the sunset. And after years of sitting with the grief, she decided to get up and walk again. And paint a sea of sadness to express the feeling in her heart. So that's my first poem for the day. It came out quite easily. And thank you, Pat, for tuning in. I've got a very dry piece of toast. And what I might do while I'm waiting for my canvas to dry is we'll go inside and I'll work on more poetry. I actually want to create a grief journal that can help anybody else who's going through sadness like I am to find a way to express the grief and get it out of your system so you can move on with your life. So today is going to be an interesting day. So Gabriela in Germany is my art therapy counselor. I thank you for taking me on as a client and helping me through this difficult time. I am eternally grateful to your presence and your guidance. I might just play some music, some songs that keep me grounded. One of the songs is really nice, written by a very good friend of mine, Skylar Jett, and it's called I Survived. And I do have permission to use this song in this video. I survived, I stayed alive, I found my strength and regained my pride. I survived with all my might, found the will and began to fight. There's so many challenges in life, but that's alright. I'm ready to fight. The road that's worth traveling's in my sight. Search for that tunnel, follow the light. Let nothing come before me. I'm here to tell my story. That's why I'm standing here tonight. I made a promise to myself to take care of my health, and I feel alright. I survived, I stayed alive, I found my strength and regained my pride. I survived with all my might, found the will and saw the light. It takes time to activate the drive
you'll be just fine. Prepare to live, don't compromise. You will stay alive. Whoa. They're gonna find a cure one day. We must keep praying, praying. There's no doubt a little love will see you through. So believe in every word that I am saying, because it's true. I'm just like you. I survived, stayed alive, found my strength and regained my pride. I survived, found my might, found my will, and began to fight. Push fear aside, it will be just fine. Prepare to leave, don't compromise, and you stay alive.
So we'll go inside and come back a little later. See how the painting is drying. Now, I'll just bring in all of my okay. So let's work on, actually, get really comfortable here. Find a bit of spot to sit and relax and work on this poetry. And as I'm reading out the poetry, if it resonates, if it makes an impression on you, please share that with me as well. Keep me motivated and inspired to keep writing today. Writing can be a very isolated experience, and I want to make the day worthwhile. So this is now the second poem I'm going to write with more promptings. and join me if you like. Write a few poems of your own and send them to me. So when you read a poem out aloud, this is called mirroring the lines of the poet and the person who has written this poem. If the person who was writing the poem was next to you, I could hear the words in your voice, and this would give words a new meaning to me. Now just allow yourself this space, the gift of this moment. I will suggest a couple of prompts to put on your blank page, but you can start anywhere you like. It can be a phrase from this poem, or it can come from anywhere, as long as it is from your heart or your gut or the place of your inner truth. When you start writing, just write images and feelings that come to you at this time. There is no right or wrong. You will find 3 prompts on the following page to get you started. Just finish any of these sentences or start with something else, anything. Now, free write for 3 to 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be in any particular form or style of poetry. Let your wings find flight and write. And imagine I'm sitting next to you and I'm writing as well. I'll always write when you write. So the first prompt is, once upon a time there was, and I've already done a poem with that. Or, once upon a time there was not. Now, I particularly like the poem Once Upon a Time There Was Not. Let's see what I can come up with. So once upon a time there was not a whisper nor a thought of silence so profound it caught. It caught the echoes of our laughter, fraught with memories we thought we dearly brought. In spaces where their love had spun the tapestry of days under the sun in Africa, under the sun in Zimbabwe. And now shadows stretch and the undone. Threads of what we were, one by one, unravel in the absence of someone. 6 months apart, the pillars fell, casting life into a somber spell. COVID's cruel, unexpected keel rang through the corridors where dwell the stories once time will tell. A mother's warmth, a father's might, diminished in the endless night. Their daughter walks, a wrath in white, through dreams that vanished from sight, seeking solace in the starlit bite. Yet in this void where sorrow lies, beneath the unanswering skies, a fragile strength begins to rise, forged in the fire of tearful eyes, a testament to the ties that bind. Once upon a time, there was not. There was not a future where their absence wrought. A blank canvas devoid of thought, but love in its transcendence sought to paint anew the battles fought. For in the heart where grief resides, a quiet hope still abides, that once upon a time belies the truth that love, though it hides in every shadow, survives. Once upon a time there was not, a tale of loss forgotten, caught in the web of time. But thought and love and memories fraught with once upon a time are wrought. This narrative, though steeped in pain, bears witness to love's refrain, that even in loss we gain the strength to face the world again. Once upon a time, there was not in vain. So that is a little poem starting with the words, once upon a time, there was not. The next poem I work on is going to start with the words, walking through life wondering. Again, these are prompts that are in this beautiful little poetry book of an amazing woman from Dubai who teaches you to free form and write what comes to you without overthinking. So, walking through life wondering. Walking through life wondering in the stillness of dawn's breaking, where whispers of their laughters linger and her heart in silence aching, traces memories that clings, a tender tither. Wandering through rooms she finds ghosts of conversations, echoes of a time when love was tangible, intertwined, now vanished like morning dew, sublime. Yet fleeting, leaving coldness behind. 6 months apart, the pillars crumbled, leaving her adrift in a sea of sorrow, where waves of grief endlessly tumbled, washed over today and then tomorrow, stealing the joy that she might brought, that she might borrow. A mother's touch, a father's counsel, lost in the chasm of an unseen foe. COVID's cruel hand, both judge and counsel, rendered a verdict, a devastating blow, leaving her in this limbo, in this in-between glow. Yet in her wandering, there's glimmer, a faint beacon of hope that flickers dim, a belief that even as the light grows slimmer, love endures behind the rim. A life and death of love and sorrow, a hymn, a psalm, a prayer. Walking through life wondering if the pain of loss will ever cease, will ever ease. Yet in each step she's wondering the strength found in memories, a legacy of love that set her spirit free. In the quiet of the night, she converses with the stars, a dialogue with the past. Each twinkle, a verse, a universe where love resides, steadfast, a bridge over the void, vast, the loss. So she wanders and she wanders, walking through life with a weary grace, beneath the weight of loss that sunders, yet carrying within a sacred space where love and only love traces the path forward through endless mazes. In this journey of silence, questioning, she finds solace in the wondering that in grief there's also reckoning, a healing, a slow awakening to a world where love keeps echoing. Oh, this is pretty intense. Not very easy to remember the sadness. But I'm hoping that in writing these poems and painting these pictures, my healing will start. So please give me some feedback on these poems. I'm going to try another poem. The prompt is, if you praise a word, it turns into a poem. Praise to this poem for letting me write it. Let's see what I can come up with. So here's the poem. Praise to this word, grief. Praise to this word, grief. A shroud, a thief, a paradox of belief. Once I walked in sunlight, brief and brilliant, unaware of the underneath, where shadows craft their own relief. My mother's laughter, a melody so sweet. My father's gaze, where love and pride meet. Both vanished in a heartbeat, leaving me adrift and incomplete. In the sea where sorrow and memory fleet. 6 months apart, the universe conspired to teach me loss, how quickly life expired. Grief, this unwelcome, unbidden near, became my tutor, harsh and dear. In its lessons of love, a ceaseless fire. Praise to this word, grief, for it speaks of love in the highest degree, a testament to what lies underneath our daily turmoil, our every breath, a collection beyond death, a spiritual wreath. I've learned to walk with grief, a silent companion, through dark days and light, its presence a canyon, echoing with voices lost, a legend of memories. Each a lesson, a sermon on the enduring power of love's reign. Grief, you've reshaped my world, my view. You taught me the depth of love, its hue. In your shadow, life feels anew, a landscape where love threads through, a tapestry of sorrow, weaving truth. Praise to this word, grief, for in its clutches I found relief, not in forgetting, but in the motif of remembering, in the belief that love endures beyond grief's thief. So I stand here amid the ruins, a heart heavy yet full, where blossoms the flowers of love in countless rooms of my soul, dispelling glooms, praising grief for its illumes. Grief is a word so small yet vast, a bridge from the future to the past. In its grasp, I'm tightly cast, yet free, for love holds fast. Praise to this word, grief at last. Okay. So the next poem is inspired by the phrase, praise to the time on a watch. Okay, here we go. Praise to the time on a watch. Its hands moving in relentless march, marking moments both dark and starched, with pain of loss and arch, spanning the chasm where my heart embarked. Once time was a river flowing free, bearing days of joy and nights of glee. Then comes a storm, fierce decree, taking first her, taking first him, then her, leaving me adrift in grief-stricken sea, in a grief-stricken sea. 6 months apart, the hands did span, each tick a reminder of what had been. A mother's warm, a father's grin, lost in time, a sin of fate leaving my world so dim. Praise to the time on a clock, on a watch, though for within its march, I've come to know the precious weight of love's afterglow, how memories like rivers flow through the landscape of sorrow slow. With each tick, I've learned to see the beauty in what used to be, to hold close their legacy. In the ticking, find a key to unlock the joy amidst the tragedy. Time, a watch, a relentless guide, has shown me grief's other side. In the ticking I abide, finding in each stride a strength with their memories aligned. Praise to the time on the clock, its face, a mirror to the past I embrace. For in its relentless race, I found a steady pace, a way to navigate this space. So here I stand behind tick and talk, a heart mending from its lock, Praise to the time that did not mock, but cradled my grief, took stock, and helped me rebuild to the solid rock. Praise to the time on the watch, the clock, for teaching me to watch the sun rise again, notch by notch. In the sky of life, not blotch. In the sky of life, no blotch can erase the love that time cannot block. Okay. The next poem is entitled As I Stand on the Beach of the Sea of Sorrow, what washes upon the shore for me? A realization that time is borrowed. It is not ours. As I stand on the shore of grief and sadness, the sadness comes in waves, sometimes gentle, sometimes slow, sometimes high and fierce and powerful. And I drown and drown and drown in my sorrow. And like life, it picks me up again, the next wave. It lifts me high enough for me to breathe, high enough for me to feel, high enough for me to express my gratitude to my parents, to people who love me unconditionally, taken away so suddenly, unable to go home to grieve, to bury my mother because of COVID. As I stand on the shores of the Sea of Sorrow, sometimes it overwhelms me. It's dark, it's black. I cannot see. I cannot see any light. But I've come to realize that all I can do is sit with it for a while. All I can do is let it take me and surrender to the sadness that envelopes me. Grief is not a place you go. Grief is not a place you stay. Grief is a place where you stand still and let the emotions consume you, drown you, take over your soul. I've come to learn that if I fight the feelings, if I push away the sadness, they come back fast and furious. I've come to realize that our emotions are like our children. All they want is our attention for a while. So do not fight, do not push, be still and sit in sadness and in sorrow and in grief. And like our children, draw these emotions closer to you. Don't push them away. Bring them close and let them have their way. As I stand on the shore of sadness, of grief, of sorrow, I'm reminded of tomorrow. I'm reminded of how they would have wanted me to live. I'm reminded of how they would have wanted me to remember them with joy, with happiness, with gratitude that they lived, that they cared, that they loved me. And in the knowing that although they are gone, they are in me, they are with me, they have not gone. The next poem is dedicated to my counselors, my art therapists, the people who are helping me through this very, very difficult time. And it's entitled, When Someone Deeply Listens to You. This is more emotional than I thought it was going to be. But I'm grateful for taking the time to just stop and process a few things. If you are listening, type in the chat what you're getting from this process. I appreciate your feedback as I work through this collection of poetry. I'm hoping that by the end of the day, I will have finished writing a poetry book on grief. So when someone deeply listens to you, the world pauses, its rustle retreating into the blue. A sacred silence wraps around a comforting cocoon. In that space, my grief finds room to bloom. A tender soil where understanding can resume. My parents died 6 months apart. When my parents died 6 months apart, my universe shifted. First, his light faded, then her spirit drifted, leaving me in realms where time seemed rifted. A daughter with memories adrift and gifted. With sorrow so profound, the very skies shifted. When someone deeply listens, the stars align. In their eyes, a reflection of that loss, mine. A shared heartbeat in the chasm of once upon a time, where words need not fill the space between lines. In their silence, a solace that intertwines. In listening, they hold my grief in gentle hands, acknowledging the pain that life demands. A bridge over dark waters to lands where healing can begin, where understanding expands. In this quiet, a comfort that understands. It's in this listening I find a way to navigate through storms of sorrow, a fate that seemed too heavy a weight. Yet in their presence, I feel the gate to healing open. Love compensates. When someone deeply listens, grief transforms. No longer a tempest, but a norm. A part of me, but not all consuming. Warm in the knowledge that I can weather the storm. In their listening, my spirit finds form. So there I stand amidst loss profound, yet grounded in love I found. For when someone deeply listens, the sound of hope echoes, resound, a testament to the lost and found. When someone deeply listens to you, grief finds its place, its due. It's not a shadow, but a hue, a part of the palette, a view, a life richer, deeper, and infinitely true. So thank you to my grief counselor, G, and Gabriella. The next poem is called A Voice Through the Door. Okay. A voice through the door whispers, soft and low, carrying tales of love from long ago. In the quiet of night, where heart beats slow, I hear them speak, a gentle, comforting echo. 6 months apart, they left this earthly plane. A mother's nurture, a father's wisdom, none remain. Their absence a void, a silence, an unending pain. yet through the door their voices sustain. A whisper of laughter, a shadow of song, memories through which my heart transverses long. In the echoes I find the strength to belong to a world that seems both right and wrong. A voice through the door, in dreams it comes, a balm to the soul, beating like drums. In their words, a melody that hums, a bridge over time to which my spirit succumbs. It's not just the voice, but what it imparts, a testament of love piercing back to my heart. In the stillness, their wisdom imparts, a lesson in living, though we're apart. 6 months. 6 months, a chasm wide and deep. Yet through the door, their presence I will keep. In the whispers, their legacy, a leap around the void, love so steep. A voice through the door, my grief it knows. Speaking of love, it gently bellows. A courage to the face, a courage to face the highs and lows. In their absence, a new path it shows. In each whisper, a comfort found, their presence a cloak in which I'm wound. A voice through the door, a sacred sound, in their eternal love I am bound. So I listen, and in listening I learn that through grief life's tide will turn. Their voices guide me at each twist and turn, a beacon of love for which I yearn. A voice through the door, through the veil of night, bring them close without sight. In their whispered love, I find the light, a guiding star, eternally bright. The next poem is called Sometimes I Hear a Voice. So sometimes I hear a voice. This is a tribute to my mom. Sometimes I hear a voice, a whisper in the breeze, a soft caress through the trees. It carries warmth and effortless ease, a mother's love, the ultimate keys to unlock the moments that grief may seize. In the rush of dawn, when the world's at peace, I hear her laughter, a sweet release. It echoes in the chambers of my heart, a piece of her essence, a timeless lease on memories that bring a gentle solace, a cease. Her voice, a balm to the wounds unseen, guides me through spaces where light has been, in the quiet moments in between. Her presence felt, though she's not seen, a guiding force serene, a sheen. Sometimes I hear a voice in moments unexpected. In the rustling leaves, her words reflected. A melody of advice once directed towards me, now interjected into the fabric of my days, protected. With every word, a thread of her wisdom woven into my life's tapestry. A kingdom of her teachings, a cherished prism through which I see the mirrored spectrum of life imbued with her optimism. In the solace of the night, her voice finds me, a whisper of strength, letting me free. In her words, I find the key to navigate grief's turbulent sea. Her love, the anchor forever to be. Sometimes I hear a voice and I turn to see, half expecting her presence next to me. Though she's gone in my memory, her voice lives on, a legacy, a testament to love's enduring decree. Her voice, a touchstone in my journey of grief, offers comfort, offers relief. In its echo, I find belief, a connection beyond the mortal reef. Her love, my solace, my chief. So sometimes I hear a voice and I know she's with me wherever I go. In the whisper of the wind, in the sun's low glow, her love surrounds me, a perpetual show, a mother's voice, soft and low. Thank you, Mama. Whew. Okay. The next poem is called When I Read the Book of My Life. When I read the book of my life, pages torn, each chapter a saga where love and loss are born. The ink runs deep through joy and scorn. In the narrative, my heart is torn. For within these pages, my grief is worn. 6 months apart, 2 chapters end. A mother's love, a father's hand to lend. Their departure, a curve I cannot bend, leaving me with wounds I cannot mend in this book of my life where shadows bend. The chapters before are rich and full, brimming with memories, beautiful and dull. Laughter that once made my heart pull, wisdom shared a life to mull, now echoes in silence, cruel and now. As I turn the pages, tears stain, marking the passage of love and pain. Each word a reminder of what remains, a legacy of love, a soul's refrain. In this book of my life they sustain. But grief has opened its own verse, and narrative twists both blessing and curse. Through its lines I transverse a journey of healing, diverse, in the book of my life, a universe. With each page I understand grief is not a burden but a land, where memories and sorrow stand hand in hand, a demand to honor their lives, grand and planned. When I read the book of my life now, I see their chapters and I vow to continue their stories somehow. Their essence in my heart's plow, giving me as I bow, guiding me as I bow. The book of my life holds tears and laughter, chapters yet to write, before and after. In grief's grip, I find a rafter, a hope that we'll meet in the after, in the there and after. In the eternal book of life, chapters will craft together. So when I read the book of my life, I see not just the loss, but the legacy. A story of love, eternally free. Parents departed, but within me, their love rides on endlessly. Mm. The next poem is just simply entitled Love. In the quiet of the night, I speak the word love. A whisper in the darkness, sent to the stars above. Twice lost in 6 months, their absence, therefore, a chasm in my heart, the missing piece of my beloved dove. Love, a four-lettered beacon in my storm, guiding me through grief, its form, transformed. A mother's embrace once warm, a father's counsel, their presence the norm, now memories that swarm. Love, now a language of the silent, a dialect of memories resilient. In their absence, it becomes brilliant, a light in grief, inherently defiant, a connection forever reliant. I carry their love, a torch in the night, illuminating paths with its bright, eternal flame, a sight that guides me with its might through the depths of my plight. Love, it whispers in the echoes of their laughter, in the wisdom they imparted and thereafter. In every sunrise and in the quiet before the rafter, their love envelopes me, a soothing drafter, a reminder of what I'm chasing after. In the silence, love becomes a reflection of their lives, their direction, a connection beyond the intersection, a life and death, a collection of moments, a resurrection. Love, a testament to their existence. In the face of absence, its persistence. A force breaking down the resistance of grief insistence, offering solace in the distance. Their love, now a legacy within, a strength to begin to navigate the dim of the world dimmed, a spin on life, a hymn. So I whisper love and I feel them close. In the quiet, in the shadows where love shows its true form arose that continues to grow through grief, love flows. Love, the essence of their gift. Through the rift, the lift, in the drift, my soul, it shifts. In love, their memory I enshrine, a lineage divine through time, their love mine, an eternal sign. Whew. The next poem is entitled The Journey. Or maybe I will call it The Journey Beyond. The Journey Beyond. In the silence of my heart, I see the journey beyond grief. In the silence of my heart, there lies a road uncharted, a path laid bare by love departed, their love. Within 6 months, their journey started, a journey within where time is guarded by memories of loved, the beloved hearted. The journey beyond is a trek through sorrow, where yesterday's loss meets the hope of yet another tomorrow. A mother's laughter, a father's kindness I borrow, guiding me through the wilderness of sorrow, their absence, a shadow long, long and narrow. The road, it winds through valleys deep, where the echoes of their voices weep. In the night, their memory I keep, a Virgil for the love that's deep. In my soul, a wellsprung rich and repellent. The journey beyond, where grief meets grace, where sacred space, where time slows its pace. There in the quiet, I find a trace. I see a trail. I see a trail of their love, a soft embrace, a light in the darkness, a saving grace. With every step, I learn to carry the weight of love no longer stationary. Their presence is in all I embody, a legacy of love extraordinary, guiding me beyond the ordinary. The path stretches infinite under starlit skies, illuminated by the love that never dies. Through the pain, a new strength lies, Born from loss, it rises, defies, a testament to the love that ties. The journey beyond, a passage through grief, where pain and love in their relief intersect, a belief that in the heart's deepest reef lies the power to turn a new leaf. So I walk this road with them in heart, a journey of healing and a new start. Their love, my compass, an art that guides my way, a chart of the journey beyond where they're apart. Through the terrain of loss, I find a resilience, a peace of mind. In the journey beyond, I'm intertwined with their spirits, a bind that transcends the confines of mankind. The path, a journey of transformation, guided by their love, a foundation beyond grief, a destination of eternal love, a celebration. In the journey beyond, it is only a continuation. The next poem is entitled The Dead End. And this is a title that is a pun on that when somebody dies, you come to the end of a road with that person. But also that when you lose someone you love, the dead end, the journey that you had with them. The dead end. In the labyrinth of my grief, I have found a dead end, a place where shadows merge and bend. Each step I took, each corner I've round, led me here, where silence is the only sound. The dead end. The dead take with them all the joy, all the memories, all the happiness. The dead end the journey that you were on. The dead end is a wall of sorrow so steep where my tears could form a river deep. There the echoes of my heart's lament reverberate against walls that won't relent. The journey here was lined with memories, each thread a tapestry of stories. We wove together, not frayed or torn, leaving me in this place forlorn. We're no longer on that road. We are no longer on that journey together. At this dead end, the path disappears, and with it all the hopes and fears. I carried thinking that there might be a way through this grief, a key. But the dead end offers no escape. Just a mirror reflecting the shape of my sorrow, a figure lone and draped in the remnants of love now reshaped. Yet in the quiet of this dead end, I find a strange comfort in the mind. For there where my journeys pause is where I hold my closest cause. In the stillness, your voice I hear, a whisper soft and clear, reminding me that love sincere transcends the barriers near and dear. So this dead end, a place of reflection, becomes a site of connection, a space where loss and love intersect. A heartache, yes, but also respect. For the journey of grief and its twists and turns, for every moment my heart yearns, there at this dead end I learn that love's a flame eternal burns. And maybe, just maybe, from this end, but a bend in the road where I mend the pieces of my heart and send a love and send a message of love that transcends. That dead end, not a single stop, but a part of the journey, a backdrop for the healing, the tears, the hope that in the darkness I can cope. For in this dead end, I found that love and grief, profoundly bound, create a place where we're surrounded by the love once shared unbounded. So I embrace this dead end with all its pain, a testament to love, not to vain, not in vain. For even there, love remains a beacon guiding me through this terrain. The next poem is a poem about healing, about overcoming grief, and is called Little by Little. Little by little, the dawn breaks, a world that shifts, that aches. Once where two pillars stood proud and strong, now in their absence, I feel the goal to face each day amidst it all. 6 months apart, the universe took my anchors, my guides, a life's nook. My mother's embrace, a father's sage look, now memories in a closed book, their absence a river, a bubbling brook of tears. Little by little, I learned to breathe in a world that feels so beneath. The joy we shared now sheathed in layers of grief, a wreath that's worn without honor underneath. Each morning's light, a subtle clue that life continues despite the view of an empty chair, a missing shoe. In the silence, their absence brews a strength I never knew I knew. Little by little, I find my way through the thicket of sorrow, a display of resilience, a new day. Defined not by loss, but by the fray of memories that stay, that lay. With each step, a piece of them carries on in the laughter, the tears, the dawn of realization that though they're gone, their love, their essence hasn't withdrawn. In my heart, their presence is drawn. Little by little, I see the signs in the mundane, the divine. Their wisdom, their love intertwine with my soul, a vine that grows, that binds. The grief, it ebbs, it flows, a tide that comes, that goes. But in its wake, love grows, a testament it shows that from loss, a new strength arose. Little by little, I embrace the pain, a reminder of love not in vain. For in every loss that's gain, in the memories, the love remains, a balm, a soothing rain. So little by little, I move ahead, carrying their love, a thread woven into the fabric widespread of my life, a tapestry, widespread their legacy, my stead. Little by little, I live on. The last poem is entitled There Was a New Voice, or There Is a New Voice. There is a new voice within me, soft and solemn. It took a bow on the stage of my heart, showing me how to navigate the waves and the endless plow of a sea churned by loss in solemn vow. 6 months apart, the pillars fell, a mother, a father, a tolling bell. In their absence, a profound swell of silence where once love did dwell, now echoes with stories I long to tell. This new voice, it whispers of change, of rearranging the familiar, the strange. Landscape of love now within range, of understanding a scope to exchange. Grief for growth, a notion so derange. Yet in its tone, there's a hint of grace, a gentle reminder of their embrace, a nudge to found my own place in this world, to chase the light even in grief's trace. This voice, it speaks of resilience, a testament to love's brilliance, guiding me within its instance to beauty, to find beauty in the distance, in memories, a resistance. It tells me of strength unknown, a seed of courage slowly sown in the depths of despair, alone, now sprouting its roots grown into the fabric of my bones. There is a new voice. It sings of hope, a melody that helps me cope within the days when I simply mope, offering a way to elope from the darkness, a way to slope. It speaks of them, not of sadness, not with sadness, but with a touch of madness, of joy, of memory, gladness. a reminder that their absence is filled with their love, their vastness. This new voice, a guide, a friend, whispers, love does not end. In your heart, it will bend, shape you, mend the pieces into a new blend. There is a new voice, born of grief, a beacon offering relief, a way to navigate the reef of lost beyond belief, a signal, however brief. So I listen and I learn to turn this voice. I turn from its wisdom to discern the eternal love from which I yearn. In this new voice, their love returns. Thank you, everybody. I'll be back with part 2 when my painting is dry.